some students might just be a little bit more charismatic than others. And that might be enough.
Is there a lot of charisma in your department, Neil? Tell me about the charisma going on over there in the info systems.
I think there's some, depending on who you ask.
I've realized that, okay, I can have the grades, have the straight A's, but when I got to my master's program, I was told by the program director, your classes are not your most important focus here. What is expected from research is that you have unique ideas.
This is UMBC Careers Unleashed, where we unleash stories, insights, and expertise to support you on your career journey. Let's dive in.
What's up, Retrievers? We are back with another episode of your favorite UMBC podcast, UMBC Careers Unleashed. And today we have two very special guests. They are actually pursuing their PhDs right at this very moment here at UMBC. So I'm going to pass the mic over to them in a second because I want to let them introduce themselves in their own way. I might give you some leading questions, y'all, but I want to pass it over. First, I want to start with my immediate right, Neil Kpamegan. Yes. You see how I did that? Kpamegan. And then I'm going to pass it over to Claire. But first, tell me a little bit about yourself, Neil. What are you pursuing your PhD in? How far into your pursuit, like how far are you away from defending your dissertation? And where did you grow up? Tell me that. That'll be cool.
Okay, yeah. I am a PhD candidate in Information Systems.
Okay.
I graduate spring.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm ABD. I'm a resident of Maryland, so I grew up from Rockville, Maryland.
Okay.
Did my undergrad at Rutgers
Okay.
University, and then did my master's also in statistics, both in statistics at American University.
Wow. Listen,
Yeah.
East Coast, Rutgers, Jersey. Okay. And now you're getting your PhD in information systems. I think I'm going to need like $1,000 and maybe give me 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Just like, just go ahead and sprinkle a couple of dollars over on my side.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's giving a lot of money coming your way.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, no, that's my hope for you. All right. What about you, Claire? What are you pursuing your PhD in? How, where are you at in that process, that journey? And yeah, where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so like Neil, I'm also a Maryland native. I'm from Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay.
That's where I was born and raised. I also went out of state for my previous schooling. So my undergraduate degree is in psychology from Roanoke, Virginia, which is in Southwest Virginia. And then I stayed in Virginia for my master's, which was a master's in psychology at William and Mary.
Okay.
And then I came back to Maryland and I started my PhD in gerontology coming up on about 2 years ago. So I'm in my second year of the program. I will take my comprehensive exams this summer and then I'll move on to candidacy. Following that, I'll take about a year and a half to complete my dissertation. So anticipated graduation is either winter 2027 or spring 2028.
Wow. That's giving scholar, isn't it? It's like Roanoke, Virginia, William and Mary, gerontology, psychology. Oh my goodness. That's like a labor of love almost. So we call it a career controversy. Do you agree or don't you agree? And I feel like this one is going to be a good one for y'all. Okay. So what do you feel? And I want to ask it correctly. Okay. Is getting a PhD sometimes, in some cases, more about endurance than intelligence? Would you agree or would you disagree? She's already shaking her head one way, so I'm going to give it to you, Claire. What do you say? Endurance, intelligence, what do you think?
I think that PhDs are definitely about endurance. I think mostly it's about your financial position in order to be able to either take on debt or have someone fund you, whether that is, a parent, if someone has a trust fund. I can speak for myself. I definitely know that as a PhD student, I receive a stipend. It it's not quite commensurate with cost of living.
Yes.
And this is something that I think is pretty widespread that students experience. And so while you have to have the endurance to complete a PhD, you know, really dedicate yourself to a specific topic, I also think it's about the resources that are available to you, and also in terms of just entering the field, knowing how to get there, because I think academia, higher ed can sometimes have some gateways and barriers in terms of who do you know and being able to say the right things for entry.
Got you. You may have do you have a different opinion? I feel like, especially coming out of the sciences and more into the tech realm of things, what saith you, Neil? Is it more about endurance, or do you think it is about intelligence?
I definitely agree with Claire. I think it's
Okay.
I think when you get to the PhD, I think there's just kind of a line is the word.
Okay.
I think most people aren't.
Okay.
But the endurance part is the part that really makes the PhD, I think, difficult.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting, but yes, the finance is definitely a big part. Now, let's say you do get resources or finance is not the issue. Then it's really getting into your field and kind of meeting the bar in terms of what is, acceptable, what is good research. And that can be very hard, especially sometimes you are either teaching yourself a lot of the new information, just trying to figure out where you're going to make your stamp. Because I think you come in with a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
And the PhD very quickly kind of breaks your ego very.
Yeah.
And I think where the tough part comes in is like, how do you bounce back from that?
Yeah. So that's a good place for me to segue. I have a next question for you, Neil, just you. As you were pursuing your PhD, or while you were pursuing, you're on the like final stretch, going the last mile right now. Have you had to address like imposter syndrome at all? Where am I good enough? Am I able to do this? Can I make it? Those kinds of thoughts where it's like, I thought I was going to be, like the next one in the family with the PhD, but I don't know.
Oh, for sure. I definitely had imposter syndrome. I think one of the tough parts about the journey is like making sure that you could, keep going. Like, it's very easy to compare yourself to other students, right? You have students that are just putting out publications, putting out research all the time. You're just like, and I'm not doing anywhere remotely close. Like what's good with me? But, you do have to take into account, like your research is different. Your mark with this PhD is going to be completely different from someone else's. And so kind of reminding yourself like not to get caught up in that is super important. And I think one of the best places really to have really look at your relationship between your advisor. And I think that's a good starting point, but also just like making sure that you're meeting other graduate students, I think that's an important part, because then you get a lot of people's different perspectives, and that kind of helps tailor how you might want to view your own position.
And I don't know, to me, tell me from your perspective, your research, right, your professional perspective, but then maybe just like your experience. I don't know if you've had like internships or placements, but I feel like that as people age, that they're kind of like become invisible a little bit. Like it's like a labor of love, like to really be interested in the care and the science around aging and those who have aged, that it's almost like a hard work. Because it's this time in life where things are really challenging. Do you know what I'm saying? And what do you think about that?
So I got interested in aging when I was in undergrad, and I worked at an assisted living facility in the dining room.
Okay.
And this was during the
I
COVID
think I remember
pandemic.
the story. Yes.
Yeah, so there were no family visitors allowed at that time, and I saw about the same 40 to 50 residents during the week when I would come serve lunch, dinners, and I really enjoyed getting to know all of their personalities. And it also just gave more of an insight to people living with some mild cognitive impairment
Mm-hmm.
or more Alzheimer's
Mm-hmm.
disease and related dementia,
Mm-hmm.
especially after you retire,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find your identity. Okay, if I'm no longer tied to my career,
Yeah.
what makes me me? And, especially when people are living in retirement
Mm-hmm.
homes
Mm-hmm.
or places that might be removed.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a community where you have all of your needs taken care of, there's not as much integration. So something that I know there's been recent work on is incorporating and integrating communities.
Mm-hmm.
Up in Boston, they're creating housing so
Mm-hmm.
that there are um, senior citizen residents above a like daycare center.
Oh,
And
wow.
so trying to make it so that the older adults have opportunities to like interact with younger
Little people.
people
Little people.
and
Mhm.
have more of that interaction.
That's cool. That's cool. So then I want to ask you, so what inspired, I'm hearing that, you were meeting with the older folks and seeing them during COVID and really building those relationships. What inspired your academic interest and your research?
All right, so given like kind of statistical backgrounds,
Okay.
really interesting kind of probability.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also very much interested in cybersecurity, where my current research is.
Okay.
And so my research is in applying game theoretic models to cybersecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, I'm looking at optimal resource allocation for distributed systems.
These are big words, Neil.
Yeah.
Break this down for me because I want to follow you where you are going.
Pretty much, I'm looking at how to, let's say an organization has very limited resources in terms of allocating to their assets that they want to protect.
Okay.
I'm trying to find like how can you optimally allocate those resources.
Okay. Okay.
So sometimes organizations are trying to push for more secure systems,
Mm-hmm.
and they're already working with a very budget,
Yeah.
and so understanding which assets your attacker would be most likely to attack.
So that you can strategically.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And so that is kind of where my research is. And so
Got you.
the framework I'm using is a Stackelberg game. So you as a defender kind of
Oh.
take an action,
Mm-hmm.
and then the attacker is the follower. And then so they're going to respond to how you've kind of set up your defenses.
Mm-hmm. And so wait a minute. So then who plays the game?
So it's as for example, the organization that's defending their assets, and then that's a defender, and then the hacker or the person that wants to attack.
Okay. So but why is it video games? Like why can't you just come in as a consultant, assess their system, and then tell them, as opposed to gamifying it?
Okay, so game theory is more in the time kind of gambling.
Okay.
In that perspective. So in this game aspect, we're looking to it presents mathematical models, right? And so these mathematical models kind of give you a foundation to kind of understand how the attacker might do things and how the defender might do things.
Got you. So as I was listening to both of you, you got a bachelor's degree, then you got a master's degree, and then you started pursuing your PhD. Right. And I think that's not an atypical like path, right? Some folks go straight from undergrad to their PhD program. But my question that I want to ask both of you respectively, did you always see yourself getting a terminal degree? Was it like, oh, I am just going to eat this little education up? Like, maybe taking yourself back to your second or third year in undergrad. And I'll ask you first, Neil. Did you always see yourself going all the way through to pursue a PhD?
Definitely have.
Okay.
My inspiration was my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a doctorate
Okay.
in statistics.
Okay.
From American University.
Exactly.
So I was always
Yes, Dad.
and I do remember the times where he kind of dragged me around when he was doing his PhD. So I think me being on a college campus is not too crazy of a idea.
You were raised by a scholar, so you had to be one. I get it. What about you?
I didn't always see this path for myself.
Okay.
I had changed my major a few times in
Mhm.
undergrad.
Mhm.
I thought I was going to major in theater.
Yes.
I thought I was going to major in communications. I
Uh-huh.
thought that I was going to do pre-med.
Oh, wow.
hmm
Oh, you're still in the science
And
arena.
so when I decided on psychology, one
Uh-huh.
of my friends had mentioned that they were in a research lab.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, well, what do you do? Why do you do that?"
Mhm.
And they said that they wanted to go to grad school and that for applicants it was, integral that you have a research experience to talk about on your
Okay.
application. And I said, maybe I should do that. And so from there, I kind of explored my options of the different labs that were available at Roanoke College. And I ended up working with a professor I'd taken some classes with in the developmental psych realm. And I really enjoyed it. And
Mhm.
so from then, I just kept on with research, and that kind of compounded my experience and solidified, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this
Uh-huh.
throughout to the doctorate level.
So what about you, Claire? What about and maybe in this, and you can go either way with it. I feel like you're creative, so you can give us some razzmatazz information. What about doctoral life has surprised you?
What has surprised me?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm, that's a good
That is
question.
Mm-hmm.
good.
I think coming from a master's, there was less surprise. I think the biggest adjustment was from undergrad to graduate school in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for some reason, was under the assumption that graduate school would be a continuation of
Mm-hmm.
undergrad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kind of like high school
Silly,
into right.
silly, naive me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I was very used to having a very well balanced social life. I was very involved in choir and theater, and I had a lot of social time that was dedicated to seeing friends and
Mm-hmm.
having a built in community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the biggest surprise, I don't know why I wasn't expecting this, but the workload is truly
Mm-hmm.
an adjustment in terms of the responsibilities. So often, when PhD students have a stipend or a funding mechanism, you have to work for that. And so that might be a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, you're expected to spend 20 hours, is what you're contracted to per
Mm-hmm.
week on either teaching or research, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe both.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're doing that. And your research assistantship might not overlap with your own individual research. And so
Mm-hmm.
you're also trying to, teach yourself and come up with something, unique that's going to contribute to the field
Right, right.
and the gaps in the literature.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the first couple of years of your PhD, and I know for all of my masters, I was also in classes.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though I had held jobs while doing research and taking classes, it was a different extent of workload that surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just trying to find community was a different, just a different adjustment period
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, in my PhD program, I'm one of the youngest students
Okay.
because my trajectory was just doing school straight through.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the honor of being able to work with students who are getting their PhD after, I have one colleague who has already gotten their doctorate in physical therapy
Mm.
and worked in the military as a physical therapist for
Mm-hmm.
20 years and is now getting a PhD, coming back to school. Just people who have really rich life experience that they're able to bring to the table. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's unique to UMBC.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see this as much at William and Mary. I don't know how it was at American, but we have a lot of students who are maybe what you consider non-traditional graduate students, in the sense that they might be making a career change. Some of these grad students have kids and a family. And so building community just looks different when there is more of a heterogeneous population of students.
I got you. You know, I have a question that is in my mind, but I want to scale back a little bit before I get into the deep end, because that just really opened up a can of worms for me in my mind. But like, okay, so what then does the, I guess, application or entry into a doctoral program look like? Is it similar to applying for undergrad? Is it like more intense? Do you have to provide more pieces of information? Are you expected to have a more exceptional and outstanding GPA, at the front end, like from your perspective? And I'll ask you, Neil, what was your, I guess, admission into a doctoral program? What was that like? Do you feel like it was more intense?
I don't know if it was more intense per se. I think for me, it was like, go to the site.
Yeah.
Download the application, fill it out.
Okay.
But I think the letter of recommendations was pretty big. So
Okay.
like, who was I getting that from?
Did you have to like get somebody prestigious? Did you feel?
I wouldn't say that, but more like which professors of mine kind of like, did I have a good rapport with? But outside of that, it was just, I think it's definitely still at the same thing as an undergrad in a numbers game. It's just much harder as an undergrad game because, there are, from what I've come to understand now, especially being a PhD for a while, there are students that kind of already talk to potential advisors. And they're like, oh, just do the application. And now you don't realize there's always someone in the queue kind of having like a first look before you even get there kind of thing. And so it wasn't too bad, but UMBC was one of my top choices and I got in.
So were you strategic or intentional while in pursuing your master's degree to build relationships with your professors for the purpose of, because you knew that you wanted to?
Not really. More so what I did with my master's. So there was two ways to graduate. It was either just get your master's, just take the courses, or end with a master thesis. And I did the master thesis route where most of my actually all the rest of my colleagues in my cohort didn't do that.
Look at you.
And then I also tried to go to my way to be a lecturer for one semester. So kind of just show that like I'm ready for whatever the PhD was going to offer me.
That's amazing. This is like a lesson in what going the extra mile looks like and how it plays out and benefits you in the long run. That's amazing. What about you? Do you feel like that your admission into your doctoral program was more challenging, had more pieces, components, heavier than all the others, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot more personalization and a lot more communication necessary for PhD programs, especially coming from a psychology background. I think that for certain social sciences, the application process might look different than like information systems. And so when I initially applied to graduate school, I wanted to immediately go into a PhD program. And I'm trying to remember how many places I applied to, maybe 10 or 11. And I applied to a handful of master's programs and majority PhD programs. And I didn't get into a single PhD program straight from undergrad. And it was humbling. But also realizing there is a big numbers game. At the time, I applied for clinical psychology PhD programs. And these are highly selective in the sense that these programs will take on anywhere from, 2 to 10 students.
Right.
And they'll get application pools of 100 to over 1,000.
Yeah.
And so it is expected that you
that you network.
You network. So it's expected that you will reach out to whoever you're applying to, because with psychology, at least, you are not applying to a school. You are applying to work with one
Yes.
professor.
Yeah. And they can only take on.
And they can, it might be that professor doesn't have funding, so they're not taking students. Maybe they took 2 students last year that they're at capacity in terms of who they can mentor. They're not taking a student this year.
Yeah.
And when you have really niche research interests, trying to find a mentor who aligns with what research you want to conduct, that limits your pool of who you're looking at. And then also just what year is it? How many people are applying? How much money does the program have to allot to students? And if you are in a position where, your current mentor, they have connections at a certain university. Oh, well, you know what? One of my friends from my PhD program, they're looking for a student, and they can refer you. And then you kind of get a leg up in terms of, this is like a very personal recommendation. So going through that process of, you really have to impress one individual whose lab you intend to join. And then you also need to convince the rest of the committee at the school. And yeah, there's
So
a
what are
lot.
these? What are
And then
these?
there are a lot of interviews.
Yeah.
And some of the interviews, like for clinical psychology, the deadline for apps is December 1st. They might start out sending prelim interviews at the end of December. I know when I applied when I was getting my master's, they sent out interviews like the day before or after Christmas. I interviewed preliminary the day after New Year's, and didn't end up getting a secondary interview because they have so many applicants.
Yeah.
And so if they're going to fly you out to see you in person, they can't invite everyone. There were a lot of steps.
Wow. This is given like secret clubhouse, right? This is like the He-Man Woman Hater Club or something like that. Not really, but you have like a secret knock or like a password. And of course, I know that that's not the intention of the institution. But you both mentioned how, one, you had come to the realization that some of your cohorts, that they had already done that networking, and maybe because you initially tried to go straight from undergrad to a PhD program, that you were aware of that. So what if there was like a secret handshake? Like, what is it? Like, how do we talk to these folks? Now that you have made it into the clubhouse, what advice would you give? Like, what are the things that someone who, is well positioned academically and all those things, if they wanted to kind of do that preliminary networking, what are some of the tips that you would give them, Neil?
That is tough.
Is that like,
Now,
like I don't know.
It's so, because the thing is, like, I give you a blanket tip, right? But the problem is, like, the institution matters, the department matters, who the professor is matters. And so
you're saying that there's not a one size fits all?
No, there isn't, because some students might just be a little bit more charismatic than others, and that might be enough, right? Whereas if you're,
is there a lot of charisma in your department, Neil? I feel like that PhD students is a little more charismatic than others. Tell me about the charisma going on over there in the info systems.
I think there's some, depending on who you ask. Depends some.
You're pretty charismatic. We're not gonna play you like that.
Yeah. So just definitely really dig deep into what makes you a good student.
Okay.
I think
you like send your resume ahead of time, like send your resume.
No, that's it. I think everyone needs to understand, like, everyone's gonna probably be a good student.
Okay.
What are you doing outside of being a student? I think that's a thing that matters. I think a lot of people don't really take into account that, like, you have that 4.0, you can have really good students, you can get all the good grades, but are you contributing to your community in any?
Okay.
What are you doing outside of that? Are you doing sports? Are you doing clubs?
Right.
I think being more of a well-rounded person is way more important, because I've seen students with lower GPAs get in.
Yeah.
Right. So I think who are you as a person plays a big part, especially if you're, applying to a lot of different places.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Would you have anything to add to that, or you think that was?
I think what Neil is saying, if you are going in to work with a mentor for anywhere from 4 to 7 years,
Yeah.
the person who is accepting you, they need to want to work with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so part of it is hard, playing a bit of a personality game. But really speaking to those letters of recommendation that you get, you need to be able to have people advocate for you that, okay, sure, they're smart, they do their work. Do I enjoy working with them though? And so trying to get along well with others and working well in a team setting is important.
Yeah. You know what? So I like to create imageries, and all day I have been toying with this idea. Now go with me. About being a rocket ship, right? So you are a rocket ship, and we're going somewhere. Stick with me, Claire. Stick with me. And it's like that when you catapult, when you're leaving the ground, you have this big engine, right? And it's this big fiery engine. And then when you're starting to leave whatever, like Earth's atmosphere, right? That pressure, that the barrier or what have you, then this big engine has to fall away. Okay. So it's the thing that got you off the ground is not the thing that's going to keep you or take you to your final destination. This is where I'm getting ready to pull you in, because all through, I feel like from primary school, like from kindergarten through high school, undergrad, and maybe even into a master's program, a lot of times we're really hard pressed about getting the grade. And now you are telling me that once we get to now the zenith, right, we're getting to the place where we're really trying to attain this thing, that now this pursuit for academic excellence, while it was the thing that got us off the ground, it's not the thing that's going to take us home, take us to the moon or what have you, right? So how do you rationalize that? How do you deal with that? How do you navigate that as you are pursuing your PhD? It's like, okay, well, what am I doing here? If I'm not trying to get the best grade, and maybe you are, but like that's not the primary thing. It's like, what mark do I want to leave? In what way do I want to push the boundaries of research? Like, how have you personally shifted gears? And I ask you first, Claire, have you had to do that? Like, all the while I've been over here just trying to be type A Claire. We talked about that structure a little earlier. And now it's like, but are they going to like me? Is what I'm doing, does it matter? Had you had a moment of reckoning at any point in time?
Yeah, I've realized that, okay, I can have the grades, have the straight A's, but when I got to my master's program, I was told by the program director, your classes are not your most important focus here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You certainly need to maintain a GPA to stay in the program.
Right.
Of course. But what is expected from research is that you have unique ideas that are going to either change the way people think, introduce something new, and you have to think about what you have to bring to the table, because there are plenty of other people who can also get good grades and understand the material. And this was what was challenging for me when I was graduating from undergrad, because I thought to myself, well, I have the grades. I was involved in other activities, but I wasn't set on a certain research path. I didn't have a question at that point that excited me so much that I had to find out the answer.
Wow.
So you need to have a topic, something that's really going to drive your involvement in your PhD trajectory.
So then I have a piggyback question. What's your why? What are you wanting to solve for?
So my current why is thinking about the growing population of older adults, and this is in the US and across the world.
Okay.
We have a growing prevalence of people who are aging and do not have a partner and do not have children.
Yeah.
We also have a growing population of people who are living with Alzheimer's or other dementias. And so if you do not have a built-in family network, and of course there are siblings and other kin networks that exist.
But as you get older. Yeah.
How can people sustain themselves, maintain their activities of daily living in a way that they feel like their life still has purpose and meaning? And so, I mean, coming from a personal background, I've thought, okay, well, when I was applying, I'm like, I'm single, I don't have kids, I have 2 cats. What is my future gonna look like if I keep on this way?
Yeah, potentially cleaning up cat diarrhea off of long-haired cats. Hence our off-camera conversation.
Yes, and
Cats
I can do that
sometimes.
for him. He can't do that for me.
Right.
So thinking about the future, how can I think about the current landscape?
So you want to love on the cat ladies.
Yes.
Of course. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a cat lady, okay? Because it's a lot of less drama. It is. Listen, it is drama out here.
They can't speak English, or, I mean, they have their cat language, but, like, they
And
can't
they
give me real talk back.
Exactly. And they like what they don't, I mean, they they live with you. Like kids grow up and they leave you. And then they try to tell you that you never did nothing for them. Wow, that's a whole nother story. Okay, Neil. What about you? What is your, and I want to just ask you the thing, like, what is your why? What are you trying to solve for?
I think for me it was community.
Okay, community. Info systems, community.
Right.
Wow.
But more so, like, I'm pretty active on campus.
Okay.
I'm president of the Black Graduate Student.
Oh, okay. I think that maybe I went to one of like your focus meetings somewhere or did something, or I sat maybe next to the president at like a fair or something. So, okay.
Also founded the graduate student organization in the department.
It was like a former president, I think, because you just said you were the president. Go ahead.
IS Social Hub. I'm also right now on the committee for GSA.
Oh, wow.
So
let me just put my cards down. Wait. Because this is what we need to know. I mean, that's a lot of energy, right? We're talking about a PhD. We're talking about research. And then we're talking about all these things. Do you like have some special formula? Are you drinking Superman juice? Like, what's going on?
No. Just really want to make an impact, but I also have a lot of support.
Okay.
And so without that support, I probably wouldn't be able to do it as well as I'm doing it now. And I'm just willing to try things out, see what happens. Not too caught up in how things go.
So then community, but now how does community translate into cybersecurity and protecting the I guess the infrastructure of like a business or something, or integrity? How does that translate?
Well, I think if everyone kind of understands how security works,
okay,
what measures they can take to kind of help secure themselves and those around them, I think that will play into a bigger part of more people being like secure. Because when it comes to security, sometimes a lot of the issues that can happen it's just internal.
Okay. All right. We've been talking for a while. I've got one more serious question, and then we're going to play a little game, and we're going to get on up out of here. It's Friday during our recording, and we're just going to get on up out of here. All righty. So if you were to leave your folks, our folks, with one tidbit of information, and this can come from anywhere, right? Any sphere, any realm. If they are interested in pursuing a PhD, what would be, something that you would want to offer someone who's interested in pursuing a PhD? Just one piece of advice.
do I need a PhD for whatever job is my goal in life?
Okay.
B, do I have the support in terms of, interpersonal, financial, what have you? And C, do I have a good mentor, or do I have a mentor who can get me through the next X many years?
And in that, what is your aspiration post like your receiving your doctorate? What do you want to do with all of this wonderful knowledge that you're obtaining?
I would love to work for the National Institute on Aging, or just somewhere federal government. We do have a lot of graduates from our programs at the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services.
Okay.
And so working in a capacity for them would also be great.
Okay. Yes, leading our country around how we treat. I think that's beautiful. All right, what about you? What would be your piece of advice?
Failing's okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
failing's okay. I think I've talked to so many PhD students.
Okay.
And everyone has their kind of unique story. And you're going to stumble. Like, it's just, I think it's built into it. I think there's no way to avoid it. I mean, I'm sure there is maybe that one or two students that just had a very, peaceful, really fun, not to say the PhD isn't fun, but, they just went through it with like very few hiccups.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that for me would be the thing. Just be.
And so failing is okay. And then what are you in pursuit of? What are your aspirations here shortly? What do we want to do with all of our wonderful attainment?
So the cybersecurity field is kind of hard to get into.
Even with a PhD?
I'm not saying it's possible. I'm just saying I'm just looking to really kind of understand like how defense works at a technical level.
Okay.
Right. I'm doing a lot of stuff for research. So I want to see like really what people are doing in industry in terms of cybersecurity. Because sometimes it can be a little hush hush. Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially when, I start getting things in my algorithm that I have not told anyone that I'm just thinking about. And I'm wondering, are they scanning my dreams or something? I'm like, how do you even talk about that? Maybe I sang this song in the shower. Are you listening to me? Like, what is going on? Okay. So, yeah, I definitely imagine that being hush hush. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start with you, Neil. This is our little fun games with rapid fire. Don't even think. No, listen, I know you guys are so smart. You want to think about everything. Here it is. Coffee shop, library, or home office?
Library.
Okay. Claire, night owl, early morning scholar?
Neither.
Neither. Well, when do you do your work? When do you do your research?
I go to bed early and I wake up relatively late.
Wow.
We get those nice like afternoon hours.
Okay, so you're an afternoon scholar. You listen when the sun is out. You want to do your work when the sun is out. All right. For both of you, one word that describes your grad school journey. Go, Claire. One word.
Challenging.
Neil.
Fun.
Wow. There it is. You heard it. Grad school is challenging and fun, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've been encouraged and inspired. You're a rocket ship. Until the next time, we love you and goodbye.